Why does one marble tomb in Agra stand for an entire subcontinent? India holds 1 billion people across deserts, mountains, and tropical coasts, yet one emperor's grief built its most famous image. The answer begins with these walls and the country beyond them. The Western Ghats run along India's southwestern coast, catching the annual monsoon. In Kerala, the slopes around Munnar hold some of the country's largest tea estates, where bushes cover rounded hills in ordered rows. When cyclones strike, villages in these hills take the full force of the wind. Below the hills, Kerala's coast holds one of India's most distinctive landscapes, a network of brackish canals and lakes known as the backwaters. Coconut palms lean over narrow waterways, where kingfishers and egrets hunt. In Alleppey, families have built wooden boats for centuries, pole-driven vessels that carry rice, coconuts, and passengers through canals too narrow for roads. The system stretches for hundreds of miles. The Western Ghats rank among the world's most biodiverse regions. Tea estates border forest patches where wild elephants still roam. Roughly 1/4 of India's elephant population lives in these hills, crossing between plantations and protected reserves. Further south along the Malabar coast, the town of Varkala sits on a geological anomaly, a line of soft red laterite cliffs that drops straight into the Arabian Sea. Most of Kerala's coast is flat and sandy, but here the land lifts abruptly, creating a narrow ledge where palm groves and footpaths run along the cliff edge above the surf. On India's eastern coast, Mahabalipuram holds stone temples carved by the Pallava dynasty in the 7th century. The shore temple sits on the beach, washed by waves from the Bay of Bengal. Inland in Karnataka, the city of Mysuru centers on its palace, the seat of the Wadayar dynasty. The building blends Hindu, Islamic, and Gothic elements into what architects call Indo-Saracenic style. During the Autumn Dasara festival, the palace blazes with nearly 100,000 lights, drawing crowds from across the state. In New Delhi, Safdarjung's tomb was built in 1754 for a prime minister of the Mughal Empire. It was the last great garden tomb constructed in the Mughal style, using red sandstone and white marble in a charbagh layout, a quadrilateral garden divided by waterways, mirroring Persian paradise gardens. Jama Masjid in Old Delhi is one of India's largest mosques, completed in 1656 under Shah Jahan. Its courtyard can hold 25,000 worshippers, and during Eid al-Fitr it fills completely. Varanasi is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on Earth. Its riverfront stretches along the Ganges in stone steps, temples, and palaces, where wooden boats wait at every ghat. Upstream from Varanasi, the Ganges descends from the Himalayas through Rishikesh in Uttarakhand. The town is known as a center for yoga study, drawing practitioners from across the world. A multi-tiered temple called Tara Manzil rises on the riverbank, and the Laxman Jula suspension bridge crosses the gorge nearby, carrying pilgrims and foot traffic above the current. In the Thar Desert of Rajasthan, Mehrangarh Fort rises above Jodhpur on a cliff of red sandstone. Built in the 15th century by the Rathore dynasty, its walls run for miles. The fort's stone matches the rust color of the hills. India's national animal, the Royal Bengal tiger, once ranged across these dry forests and grasslands. Below the fort, the old city spreads in a dense grid of houses painted blue, a color tradition linked to Brahmin residents, though the practice has spread across communities. Near Jaipur, Amer Fort climbs the Aravalli Hills in tiers of yellow sandstone. Fortification walls follow the ridgeline, connecting watchtowers that once guarded the approach to the capital. Below, Sagar Lake reflects the ramparts. In Jaipur, the Hawa Mahal rises 5 stories along the main street. Built in 1799 from pink sandstone, its facade holds nearly 1,000 small windows with carved latticework. The design let royal women watch street processions without being seen. The pink color gives Jaipur its nickname, the Pink City. Outside the old walls, Jal Mahal sits partly submerged in Sagar Lake. South of Jaipur, Udaipur grew around Lake Pichola, created in the 14th century. The city palace stretches along the lake's shore, built over centuries by the Mewar dynasty. Its walls combine Rajput military architecture with decorative balconies and courtyards. From the water, the palace appears as an unbroken facade of cream-colored stone, its reflection doubling in the still surface. Udaipur's rulers resisted Mughal armies longer than most Rajput kingdoms. Deep in the Thar Desert, Jaisalmer Fort rises from a ridge of golden sandstone. Built in 1156, it is one of the few living forts in the world. Roughly 4,000 people still live inside its walls. Narrow lanes hold Jain temples with carved spires, merchant houses with latticework balconies, and shops selling goods to desert travelers. The yellow sandstone glows in the late sun, giving the city its name, the Golden City. Pushkar sits around a small lake in central Rajasthan, one of Hinduism's most sacred sites. Pilgrims believe Brahma dropped a lotus here, creating the lake. Stone ghats and white temples encircle the water, their lights reflecting at twilight. Each November, the Pushkar Camel Fair transforms the surrounding dunes. Thousands of camels arrive with herders from across the Thar Desert. Traders negotiate sales, camels are raced and decorated, and the fairground fills with tents and food stalls. Pilgrims bathe in the lake during the holy month of Kartik. Ranthambore National Park covers dry forest and rocky hills in eastern Rajasthan, once the hunting grounds of the Maharajas of Jaipur. Sambar deer, the largest deer species in Asia, move through the undergrowth in small herds. The park holds one of India's most closely watched tiger populations. Bengal tigers here hunt among ruined stone pavilions and old fort walls, remnants of a 1,000-year-old fortress that gives the reserve its name. In the far north, Ladakh sits above 10,000 feet, a high-altitude desert where rain rarely reaches valley floors. Leh, the largest town, clusters between bare Himalayan peaks. South in Himachal Pradesh, the Parvati Valley cuts through Kine Forest, and villages like Kasol cling to riverbanks below snow-covered ridges. Leh's buildings mix traditional mud brick walls with concrete additions, and Buddhist prayer flags stretch between rooftops. The town has grown rapidly since the road opened to tourism, but the surrounding valleys still follow older patterns. Herders move flocks of sheep and goats between summer and winter pastures, grazing animals on patches of green that appear briefly when snowmelt feeds the grass. In Jammu and Kashmir, Gulmarg sits at over 8,000 feet in the Pir Panjal Range. Its gondola is one of the highest cable cars in the world, reaching nearly 13,000 feet. In winter, deep snow covers the pine forests, drawing skiers to some of the steepest terrain in the Himalayas. Shimla in Himachal Pradesh was the summer capital of British India, a hill station where the colonial government escaped the heat of the plains. Christ Church, built in 1857, is the second oldest church in North India. Further north in the Kulu Valley, Manali sits at the northern end of the road network before the high passes to Ladakh. Flocks of sheep and goats still use the same mountain roads as trucks and buses, and herders move them between valleys. In winter, heavy snowfall closes the passes and buries the town. Mumbai's harbor holds the Gateway of India, a basalt arch built in 1924, and behind it, the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, which opened in 1903. The country that begins with a marble tomb in Agra meets the sea here, facing trade routes to Arabia and beyond. The tomb was never the whole story.